It's just 5 days till the Cup kicks off in Qatar, and to mark the occasion, Dua Lipa has just dropped a catchy new clarification.
I will not be performing, and nor have I ever been involved in any negotiations to perform. I look forward to visiting Qatar when it has fulfilled all the human rights pledges it made when it won the right to host the World Cup.
The controversy is only growing as the kickoff looms. Qatar has been criticised for its human rights record, treatment of migrant workers, and stance on LGBTQI people. And this is laying pressure on performers like Dua Lipa to clarify their position.
And I know that you still wanna see me.
But the good news for Qatar is that Dua Lipa's butler is available. That's DJ Calvin Harris, who'll be performing at the Cup alongside Diplo, Robbie Williams, the Black Eyed Peas, and BTS's Jungkook.
Everyone who is involved in the game of football, from fans to sponsors, of course to players or singers, we all have to make a decision as to whether to be involved and if so, how.
Qatar officials say migrant worker death numbers are exaggerated. And just days after Cup representative Khalid Salman described homosexuality as
damaging the mind,
officials have played down concerns over gay rights.
As a representative of the Qatari government, I am not here to judge upon each and everyone's sexual orientations. I just would like to confirm that each and every one of you is welcomed in Qatar to attend the matches.
But it's not just performers in the spotlight. On British quiz show Have I Got News For You, World Cup commentator Gary Neville had his feet held to the fire over his participation.
My view always has been that you either highlight the issues and challenges in these countries and speak about them, or you basically don't say anything, you stay back home and don't go. And I've always said we should challenge them.
There's another option. You stay at home and highlight the abuses. You don't have to go and take the Qataris' money.
The decision I made is to broadcast it and have those broader discussions, and at the same time I wouldn't like to profit from the World Cup. So I'll be donating my entire fee for the month to those affected groups in Qatar, and using the opportunity to also ensure that we lift up the voices of vulnerable, minority and affected groups. In my view, the worst thing that people can do is be involved in this FIFA World Cup and be silent.
But for many, any involvement is crossing a line. Comedian Joe Lycett issuing a challenge to David Beckham, promising that if he ends his rumoured £10 million contract with Qatar, Lycett will donate £10,000 to charities supporting queer people in football.
However, if you do not, at midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder.
So is it possible to take part and protest, or is that argument a poor defence?
So have any of the players said they won't?
No, the players are all going.
Right.
I think Amnesty also said they didn't want to see teams boycott. But so
why did they say that,
Well,
Amnesty?
I gather it's because they think the awareness is more important than just the boycott. And you've seen various teams put, I think Socceroos put a video out, various other teams have done it. But the fact that it's turning to the entertainers is interesting now.
Yes.
Because...
But perhaps that is a bit more optional. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, in what way? How do you mean?
Well, I just think an entertainer choosing not to go versus one of the players in it. I think
because it's the footballer's
calculation,
job to play, whereas it's not necessarily a singer's job to, I guess.
To sing.
But at the
to sing
Qatar World Cup.
at the soccer.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless they're singing with a ball, you know.
It's an interesting point, right? Like, at what point does an obligation for an entertainer not to perform kick in? Like, which countries?
OK.
Can you perform in China?
Well, apparently you can, because China rules the world.
So that's all right?
So whatever happens with the Uyghurs in China is overlooked, whereas what happens in Qatar is not overlooked.
But why does FIFA keep awarding contracts to places where their human rights is like...
Well,
isn't that part of the problem?
Well, no, the next one's in the United States, in North America. Also, you could have a whole human rights argument about that, but we won't. But I think what's interesting here is we all know the process was dodgy. And there were bribes paid and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
But a lot of the people taking those bribes were in Europe. They didn't seem to have a problem with taking them, and suddenly we're here.
But also, people love to sit back and make a judgment about something that someone else is doing, because we all like to think that we have higher morals than the person who's actually the person having to make the decision.
Yeah. I can totally understand why there would be entertainers who say, I don't want anything to do with that.
And I respect them.
And maybe the cost is too high for someone like Dua Lipa to go and cop the criticism. It'd just be better for her not to go.
Yeah, whereas David Beckham...
Yeah.
And what about that idiot who's going to shred the 10,000 quid? What a fool who's just involving himself in the whole dispute for clout.
I suspect that's a comedy bit that we perhaps didn't do justice to by putting up.
Oh, my apology.
You're exactly right.
You could get more of that idiot in the break.
He's a wonderful person. He's been on this desk before.
Perfect. I respect you too, fool.